All right. I am especially excited for this next part of our service. We are getting ready to hear a message from our lead pastor's wife, Nana Vinar. And she is not only a great speaker, an incredible author, but most of all, I think my favorite part is that she truly has a heart for women to flourish. And she has a heart for you. She has a heart for me. I know I've experienced that. I'm a better wife, mother, woman of God overall because of Nana and her leadership. I know she shaped me as a leader and also has been a wise counsel for me. So because of that, I know that tonight's message is going to speak right to your heart, right to the season that you're in. And so would you do me a special favor and stand to your feet as we welcome Nana to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much, you guys. Wow. You guys are amazing, and you look gorgeous. Thanks. Welcome to our Christmas Women's Gathering, a season to flourish. Welcome to both our Chapel Hill and Alamance campuses here. One church, two locations. Have you heard that before? We'll just keep saying it over and over and over because we're so excited that we're growing. It's so wonderful to see you all together because we share the togetherness of sisterhood. And then tonight we get food and music and photos. This is your special night. Christmas is chock full of adjectives. Merry and bright, overwhelming and tight, exciting, glistening, pressurized, complicated, sweet, sentimental, generous. What kind of adjectives would you apply to your Christmas right now? Christmas might be a combo package for you. You know, parts you love and parts you could do without. And I would say that seasons of life are like Christmas in this way. They're a mixed bag. Some parts you love and some parts you could do without. Our event tonight is called A Season to Flourish. So I want to talk about God's plan for us to thrive and grow in every single season. If you think about the nature of seasons, they change. They're not the same. Summer seeps into fall when everything is pumpkin spice and sweater weather, and we get kind of excited about that. And then Christmas music comes, and we dig out our jackets, or some of us dig out our jackets. Kendrick's still trying to teach me to wear one. I think they're just kind of claustrophobic, but I'm glad I live here and not in Minnesota where you don't have that choice. Each season is temporary. It's a section of time. You could be in a student season or a professional season, a married without children, a parenting season, retired or grandparenting. Like football season or hunting season, these pieces of time, they just last for a while and then they give way to something next. Each season has portions that we love combined with parts that we're not excited about. Spring has beautiful new growth and flowers blooming and pollen all over your car. Summer has the pool and the beach along with sweltering heat and humidity. Fall means the start of a new school year and invigorating breezes, and the start of a new school year and the end of your garden. Winter means Christmas and the chance for beautiful snow, but also mud and gray skies. And not just the calendar seasons. We could say that all seasons are mixed bags. If we could choose to remain in our favorite season, we would eventually realize that the other seasons have something to offer. God provides just what we need in each season. If you love being a student and learning just enthralls you, You may want to, at some point, apply what you've learned and see it work. If you adore summer vacation, being on a permanent vacation would lack purpose. And the delightful pause in your work, you'd miss your friends and your routine, and it wouldn't feel quite as fulfilling. Each season God leads us into contains joy along with challenge. We know the season we're in is not forever, but the challenge may feel intense or long-lasting. We know our current season will transition at some point into a new season that holds both joy and challenge. Here's been my challenge. Can I find joy in a difficult season? My word for 2024 has been joy. I felt like God gave me this word last December. I really wasn't searching for a word for the year. I know that's a thing, but it wasn't my thing until last year. In December, I was scrolling, as we do, and I saw a reel with someone's voice talking about doing things hard. Not doing hard things, but doing things hard. And here's what I remember. When you're young, you're told to study. How do you study? You should study hard. Then you learn to work. How do you work? You work hard. Why are we making what could be fun into something hard? What if we tried studying with joy? What if we tried working because it's enjoyable? And my mind added this next little part. What if all the things that need doing on my list I did with joy? My mind kind of grew bigger at that point. What if walking the dogs weren't a time stealer from the rest of my to-do list? What if it were a sweet insertion of fresh air in my day where I get to stretch my legs and see the beautiful woods and talk to myself or talk to God or talk to the dogs? What if that chore was joy? So I took the dogs out and I started to sing an old hymn, Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee. Do you know that one? I walked the path through the woods and I smiled. Joy was rising. And I already felt somewhat happy, but now I was experiencing more. Like I had a previously closed door like crack open. And I was peering inside at a new part of joy. That week I told Kendrick, my word for 2024 is joy. And I said it kind of sheepishly because he's the fun-loving guy and I'm a little more serious by nature. Later, I thought of this verse, or actually, I think he told me this verse. The joy of the Lord is my strength. My mind was just starting to get the truth in this verse. Almost like waking up and trying to recall a dream. It's like you've got pieces of it, but part of the concept was still clouded for me. You would think joy means everything is bright, cheerful, beautiful. But then came February, and I had a ski accident. I was out skiing in Colorado with Kendrick on our annual trip with a group of friends, and on the last run of the last day, I hit a clump of fresh powder. I was going a little bit fast. Now, I really am a decent skier. I used to be. But I'm not used to skiing in powder. The fresh powdery snow it's light and fluffy, and it changes the timing of everything. Sorry. I'm still making friends with this microphone. So it slowed me down, and I lost my balance. And as I spun around, this ski did not let go. I heard the crunch in my leg, and I knew I'd done something terrible. As I waited for the ski patrol sled ride down the mountain, I wished I could go back in time to just before that run and make a different choice to not take that run. But here I was, lying head down on a slope with snow packed around my knee, hoping against hope that my leg could be fixed. Kendrick and I talked with the medic and decided to get a brace and some crutches so we could keep our flight home the next day, which was Saturday. And then on Sunday, my daughter Amelia took me to the emergency ortho clinic down in Cary. And I heard some difficult news. You've crushed the top of your tibia. You're going to need surgical repair. You can't bear weight for 6 weeks, and it'll take a year to recover. That was hard. It was not joyful. And so I entered the healing season. I started out feeling brave and tough, trying out the walker and the wheelchair and the crutches and spending my days in the recliner, and ice was my new best friend. Thank you to the people who have ice machines and share them. Sweet friends and my family came to help with all the farm care and house care and meals. But I had my times of complete exasperation. I had to fight the discouragement of, I'm still not able to sleep without ice. Or I guess I just won't have a garden this year. Or I can't do anything I want to do on my own. And that's a gnarly one. If you've had that one, you know. Kendrick encouraged me to go forward with garden plans and to just get what I could get, because he knew how much I loved time in my garden, and I'm so glad he did. Several friends helped me organize the vegetable garden, and then I would walk down the lawn with my crutches, and I'd get to the garden, and do you know those blue IKEA bags, those great big blue plastic things you could carry a child in if you needed to? I took one of those down to my garden, and I sat on it and scooched along on my behind. It worked. That's how I gardened this last spring, and I used Amelia's skateboard a few times too. We ended up enjoying a lot of vegetables and all of that peaceful time in the garden, the sunshine, talking to God, planting, pulling weeds, just being in the garden, just life to my heart. Today, my dried out zinnias are still standing by the front creek bed thanks to a kind friend and the skateboard. Consider for a moment the connection between fear and courage. Have you thought about how they're related? You want to have courage, but you can't have courage unless you have fear. Oh, darn. Fear comes, and then in that moment, you rise up with the courage that you need. I find a similar truth hiding in the connection between difficulty and joy. If I never grappled with difficulty, I wouldn't long for or appreciate joy's appearance as much. Walking through challenging things starves one's heart for joy. It can inspire you to search for it. On the hard days, I had to pull my mind away from the sadness of what I can't do toward the joy of what I can do. So back then, I would say, I can get in my garden. I can drive the golf cart with my good leg. I can get around with crutches and the wheelchair. And I can shower. I can make a pie while hopping around on one leg. Didn't know I'd ever have to practice that, but it worked. And today I can do so many things. I can take a 1-hour walk, and I'm getting stronger. I have learned that it's because a season is so very hard that the delightful moments shine that much more brightly. My times talking to God were poignant. My naps were delightfully refreshing. Visits from my daughters were full of laughter. My amazing husband encouraged me over and over again and lifted my heart when I was in pain. Listen to this verse in Psalm 126, 5-6. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Those who go out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying sheaves with them. John Piper, a respected theologian, says he thinks sowing with tears simply means doing the things that must be done even though you're sad. We can't stop washing dishes for 3 weeks just because we're in a hard season. I mean, you could. I guess you would run out of dishes. Go to paper plates. If we want to eat and feed our family, the seeds need to be sown. So we do the sowing and we let the tears fall. The crops won't wait for us to finish our grieving. So if we sow seeds with tears, we'll return with joy because there's a harvest. We can say to our tears, "Tears, I feel you. You make me want to quit. But there's a field to be sown, dishes to be washed, car to be fixed, paper to write." And then we can say, on the basis of God's word, "Tears, I know that you will not stay forever. The very fact that I just do my work, tears and all, will in the end bring a harvest of blessing." So go ahead, flow if you must. But I believe, though I don't see it yet or feel it fully, I believe that the simple work of sowing will bring a harvest, and my tears will be turned to joy. When we're walking through a relationship crisis or a health crisis, not all is bleak. In the darkness, God brings himself to us with such sparkling clarity. He sits with us. He feels our feelings. He holds us. In these moments in our difficult season, they shine like glistening ornaments on a tree, each one a treasure. God made our seasons for us. They're a gift. Acts 14:17 says, "Yet he has not left himself without testimony. He has shown kindness by giving you rain from heaven and crops in their seasons. He provides you with plenty of food and fills your hearts with joy." Here Paul is explaining how God reveals himself to all of mankind through fruitful seasons that bring us joy. This is who our God is. He's our provider, our sustainer, our joy bringer. In Daniel 2:21, it says, "He changes times and seasons. He deposes kings and raises up others. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning." Our seasons are in God's hands. We trust him with our seasons. As God numbers our days, he also determines each section of our lives and how long they'll last. Ecclesiastes 3, you heard earlier, all of the sweet women who helped us with that video. "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot." These words reassure us that if we're in one season, another one's coming, all in the time designed by our loving Father. Our deepest hearts know that there's more to this life than what we see around us. We know God created us for more than what meets the eye. Here on this earth is one natural season before we graduate to our eternal season. And God gifts us, just from his goodness, he gifts us time here on this earth to know him, to enjoy him, and to spread his fame throughout the earth. Is our season here on earth mixed with joy and sorrow, pain and beauty? Yes, it sure is. We train ourselves to look for the good here, and we set our hope on eternity with joy when we get to spend forever with our Heavenly Father. If you're not completely certain of your future in heaven, We can help you with that today. God wants a close relationship with you. If you're in a hard season or a delightful season, He wants you to walk with Him. He's the one who brings us joy. Wisdom is understanding the season we're in and cooperating with it, not fighting against it. We can waste or minimize a season by fighting, pushing, wishing we were in a different season, not this one, it's uncomfortable. Waiting for a different season. When I broke my leg, I got frustrated and sad with my season, with my situation. And then I had this realization. In this season, Nana, you will do fewer things. You will do different things. You'll have a goofy garden. You won't have steers out in the pasture. But it was a season from God. I've been working on a book project for 4 years, starting in 2020. It was a difficult season for most of the world. Yet in that season, God taught me to look at the regular happenings on our hobby farm and to see things that I might not have ordinarily noticed. And this brought me great joy. I felt God showing me deeper lessons about faith while I was tending to the calves, feeding the chickens, picking up eggs, growing vegetables. So I've compiled 52 of these devotional reflections for you in this book called Strength in the Seasons. I want to recognize 2 good friends of mine, Amy and Lois. Do you mind standing 1 second? Amy was my editor, Lois was the artist, and I'm very grateful to both of them. Thank you. And also to Ethan Ramirez, he was the graphic designer. Took a lot of us to put it together. Some of the happenings I saw in nature, I felt were insights into God's character. I could see how God leads me into new seasons. I experienced how God is always with me in each season. I felt God offer His strength to me as I tackled the challenge of each season. Often His strength for the moment looks like the unveiling of hidden joy. I want to read one story from my book. It's a story of how Older Golden became grandma. Older Golden, my sweet hen, is about 6.5 years old, past the normal laying years and quite old for my hens. From sickness or tiredness, I'm not sure, Older Golden has been sitting in the nest box in her coop for nearly a month. Each day when I find her sitting motionless in the nest box, I pick her up and set her on the table nearby, but she just settles right there and doesn't move. She's looked so forlorn every time I see her, causing me to wonder if she's on the brink of death. One day, when I let Mama Hen and her 4 tiny chicks out to free range, Mama begins a frenzied kicking in the dirt and clucking to the babies to teach them to forage and eat bugs. They're bumbling all around, sometimes getting tangled in Mama's large feet as she kicks away the tall weeds that hide the bugs around their pen. So far, she and her chicks have flattened an entire patch of tall mint growing between their pen and the next. Eating bugs is what they do best, and Mama is intent on teaching her babies to do it well. Mama Hen is royally protective of her babies. I watched another hen casually getting too close to Mama Hen's 4 precious offspring, and Mama Hen's instincts kicked into high gear. Not only did she run after this other hen while squawking loudly, she pursued it further than I thought she would, perhaps farther than this poor hen imagined as well. Let that be a lesson to you to remember, Mama Hen might have squawked to all who were listening. Another afternoon, when I opened Mama Hen's pen to let her and her babies out to forage, I noticed Older Golden had somehow snuck into their tiny pen for the night. I could not believe that Mama Hen had allowed this intrusion. Older Golden's calm movements must have disarmed Mama Hen's protective guardian instincts, because here they were together, Mama Hen and Older Golden, walking the 4 small chicks out of the pen. What a surprise. They both started kicking the weeds to find bugs for the babies. Both of them made the same clucking sound that teaches the tiny ones to listen and mimic their actions to find food. I was mesmerized. The chicks now have Mama and Grandma to tend to them. Since she has chosen to remain in the pen with Mama Hen and babies, Older Golden is no longer gloomy and withdrawn in her pen. It's like she has come back to life. She has an exciting, all day long, loudly chirping ×4 purpose. At night, the 2 adults snuggle together on the floor of their pen, and 4 tiny heads poke out of their protectors' feathers like they're playing peekaboo. Mama Hen has seamlessly accepted Older Golden's presence. She must have known that Older Golden never posed a threat and decided that having company to raise her babies was lovely. Several weeks have gone by. With constant clucking encouragement from Mama and Grandma, the chicks have learned to roost on the bar at night. I sat one evening and watched the last chick experiment with every trick she could think of before she actually flew up to the roosting bar. She flew up on the door, sat there, and then hopped down. She ran around and looked at the bar from every angle. She scrambled up the netting that separates the pen into 2 rooms. Finally, with so much clucking encouragement from Mama and Grandma, the last chick found the roosting bar and snuggled into the fluff of so many feathers. Older Golden is thriving. She hasn't died from tiredness, loneliness, or sickness. She has identified a new purpose, which has brought new energy and new connections. She has found a splendid grandma role to play in this tiny family, and she seems dedicated and thrilled. No longer skulking sadly in her pen day after day, Older Golden's newfound, perfectly suitable purpose has invigorated her. There's a picture. Older Golden had encountered a difficult season. I had wondered if she was going to die soon. She really was not young. Somehow, she was drawn to Mama Hen and the 4 chicks. Perhaps she missed her mothering years. For Older Golden, her new season as grandma brought companionship and warmth and purpose, and I think that must be a chicken's form of joy. I'm personally entering a new season. We'll be empty nesters soon after 30 years of parenting. 30 years is more than half my life. It's a long time. While some people are early adapters and find change exhilarating, I do not. I appreciate familiar and I adapt gradually. I'd been warned by a cousin, you need to prepare for the empty nest season. And I thought, what's the big deal? My kids will be around, maybe not too far away. I have 5 of them. They can't all leave. I'll always be their mom. I have interests and hobbies. I can't remember being bored. And I'm looking forward to more time with Kendrick. But then the sadness of the ending of the season hit me. As I've mourned the change of season, I recognized this tendency to remember only the wonderful parts of a past season. It was not all 30 years of pure parenting bliss. Mothering is a great and wonderful labor, full of the good and the bad and all the in-between. You know that comment that well-wishers are compelled to tell you, enjoy every moment? They do not mean that. Many mothering moments are not ones to savor. You know, the ER runs for stitches, or the continual training in kindness. train. When seasons change, you will miss the joy-filled portions of your past season. But just remember, the challenges and the joys go hand in hand. Sometimes a change in season requires an identity shift. I'm not defined by what I do. I won't be a stay-at-home mom anymore. I met some new people at dinner the other night. He asked, "What do you do?" And I realized I don't have a lot more opportunities to say I'm a stay-at-home mom. That will change. But here's the truth. I am God's beautiful daughter, child of the King, invited to join him in the exciting business of reaching people and building lives. How does that sound? This is who we are, no matter what season we're in. Student, professional, retired, whatever you're doing, God has created you to flourish right where you are in every season. As God leads you into a new season, he has already given you everything you need to thrive. Listen to this verse from Jeremiah 17:7-8. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. Does that sound like flourishing? I think so. But I want to rephrase these verses. Listen to this Nana version. Blessed are we women who trust in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. We will drink up all we need from our God because we sit with him every day. We won't fear when menopause arrives, or when our teen begins to drive, or when our parents need medical care. We will keep leaning on our God. We will not worry in the hard season because our God will not fail. When we're facing fatigue or discouragement or fear or pain, we can send our roots toward our God. He's our source of all that we need. We trust him in the face of fear because God promises to help us bear fruit. You may say that some seasons are dull, just kind of a stepping stone to the next season. But even there, God intends for you to rise up and trust him to thrive. I would love it if you would say this with me, this next screen. Can you say this with me? I am God's beautiful daughter, child of the King, invited to join him in the exciting business of reaching people and building lives. That's powerful stuff. I want you to take home 4 thoughts with you tonight. Number 1, identify the change in season. Take a look around you, peek inside your heart. What season are you in right now? See if you can identify what change is happening. Number 2, celebrate with gratitude the good of the closing season. What gifts did you receive from walking through your previous season? What parts were joyful? How did God provide uniquely what you needed during that time? Number 3, mourn the loss. It's healthy to acknowledge that you'll miss the good parts of the previous season. But we don't stay there. We don't want to stay in the sadness. We give it the attention it needs, and then we move on to point 4. We get God's vision and purpose for the current season. You can enjoy every season because God is with you. You can walk with God in the joy and the challenge. There's purpose in every season. What is God calling you to do right now in this season? You can grow. You can learn. You can grow closer to God in your season. And you can prepare like winter prepares the soil for spring. My hope and prayer is that this book, Strengthen the Seasons, will minister to each of you women in whatever season you're in right now. I wrote this book with all of you in mind to encourage your heart to see what God is doing in your life right now. I've prayed over every reader that the truths that I've written about would sink deep down into your heart and a huge harvest would come forward in your life. I believe the stories here will help you find God's strength as you face your unique challenges. I believe the beautiful art will catch your eye as you engage in each chapter. Enjoy this book and let it speak to you. God has strength for you in every season. As we close, I'd love to pray with you. Do you mind standing with me? Let's pray. Lord, thank you for calling us to be your daughters, strong women of faith. We love belonging to you. We thank you for placing us in our current season with hope and purpose and joy and challenge. We look back on our previous season and we say thank you for your gifts of growth and delight. Lord, where we feel sad at the passing of a season, we bring you our hearts for your comfort. Comfort us, Lord. In our disappointment for how some seasons have played out, I'm asking you, God, to show us how you are using our past for good. For each woman facing a change of seasons, we ask for the stability of your truth to hold us firmly while we adjust to the new. We believe that you are bringing joy and vision and purpose to us, even as we miss an old season. We see your love in how you give us hand-picked seasons for our lives. May we look to you every day for the gift of yourself. You are our joy. Amen.